Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a project called Fiume. Its goal is to treat money as streams and pools, and we're working now on enhancing the way we handle dates. I think it's part of this move to make more features able to be overridden by different scenarios. All right, well, we ended the day yesterday with a bit of a walkthrough, but we still have this situation with a lot of tests that aren't right, or they're not compiling. So even though we can run it, if we don't run the tests, I don't like being in this position of so many things not working, not compiling. Okay, so well, one thing I did was we started to test equatable for date specifiers, and I had put an implementation in here, but I checked again, and conforming to equatable, an enum with its associated values conforms to equatable. So we shouldn't, we should just be able to say it's equatable. All right, so that's a good place to work, but I think instead I'm going to try and get these fixed. And what I want to do is work, since it's not a simple little change, let's provide a second constructor. All right, so the constructor we don't have that we got rid of is the one with an int question mark for this. All right, I think that makes it a convenience init, right? Okay, and then self.last, well, it has to be a date specifier, but if last is nil, it's dot unspecified. Otherwise, it's dot month of last bang. Okay, so initializers and structs are not marked with convenience. Okay. Good. Now let's build, and hopefully all these go away, all these red marks. Just one? Come on. All right, what's the matter? Cannot convert int. Oh, there goes. Well, let me try tests. I'm not sure why. Stream conform to equatable. Okay. Well, we had stream there before. This is my fault. Whoops. So some of these I have to put back that were already in our make stream, make sample. Now what's the matter with this? Stream conform to equatable. So, wait a minute. Did this one work? Okay. Oh, I commented that out, I guess. Of course, date specifier conform. Okay. I thought I moved that up there. Oh, maybe not yet. Okay. Very odd. Build succeeded, but I got 12 red marks. It just doesn't give me the right kind of confidence. That should we run tests. I don't know why these are complaining. Okay. All right. Yeah, that was. I just kind of blindly went in and changed all those, but cannot convert value of stream to expected. One too many brands, I think. Okay, let's see where we are now. Okay. Basically, I'm trying to get the DateSpecifier rather, working in equatable. I'm not sure why it's not running my tests. Oh, did I turn them off? Yeah, I bet I turned them off. Yep. Okay. Let's get back stable again. And a date specifier. Okay. This test should pass because equatable is very much built in. I almost shouldn't even test like this, bother testing it, I think. But these, okay. Let's see what's the problem here. Stream salary is not equal to stream sample. Yeah, that's okay. Right. Okay, so this one has a nil. So we need to make sure with merge, it matters whether they're the same or different. And so we want to make sure they're the same, capable of being the same. Now, I think my solution is I'm going to make this optional, and then, well, I'm going to say if last else, no. If it's nil, go to dot unspecified else dot month of last bang. Okay, and then we'll use date spec here. And return. Oh, and I put this optional argument in so we can control those a little more. Salary. Right. Now, this actually seems like it's salary is not equal to sample. Okay, so let's make this salary money 500. Oops. You know, I don't particularly like that, but I think it's okay. All right, now this one, right, we want to, again, I want to be explicit. We want salary 500, And then this can be make stream different. $1,500. Never get used to that one. Okay. And then let's make stream name salary. Okay. Good. All right. Now this is not ideal. We're kind of halfway through a refactoring, but tests are working, so it's a legit place to capture it. So add test for a date specifier. Start making stream able to use date specifier, but not done everywhere. Okay. So I think our stream test is the one that's the most urgent. Oh, and I still have some stream direct calls, so let's do that. I should look that up for the name of the pattern that James Shore uses for putting in a constructor, not calling constructors directly, but wrapping them, which would have saved us a bit of work in here now. But okay. All right, now these all use make stream, and we've taken over. I don't know if this is a good thing to do in the long run or not, but we've taken over. We've kept the same interface, giving me an optional month number, and then in here we're deciding how am I encoding that into a date specifier. And the real code has to use the date specifier, or we want the real code to use the date specifier. Okay, and then some possibilities. A lot of streams in here. Not a lot of date specifiers. Okay, so there's a test. All right, let me get stream up. So one of the things going on, let's see, where is this? So we have last of int. We default the month number, and last can be nil. It's not clear to me that anything other than a test wants to default this. So I guess I want to comment this out briefly and do a build and see what tests in the model side fail. We know a bunch of tests will fail, but who's calling this constructor with, oh, well, actually that's not going to do it, is it? It'll give me something. No, see, that's not right. A build doesn't do it. Okay, the tests have the issue. Okay, so let's go back. All right, and undo that. And now I'm going to comment this one. Okay. Right, that's a test. Add plan view, preview. All right, let's add that. Whoops. Add that there. Int has November month. Now, these are not much better than tests in a way. I mean, they're demos. So I don't really object to including it there, but in the long run, we'll get rid of that too. But I just want to get things kind of bent into more the right shape here. I don't even want to use month numbers eventually here, so. Okay, so it looks like everybody who's doing that is either a test or they were a preview. And so in that sense, we're okay taking that out. Stream. Okay, so now who else is it? Well, these don't. I think we can make a little make stream in here as well. We got make leaf. Private func make stream. Now we'll take a look. Yeah. Well, where's the streams? Certainly that one. Okay. That doesn't bother me to specify this. Explicitly. But we do, oh, that is the only stream, huh? Leaf 1, leaf 2, scenario 2, we're adding a stream. Set.scenarios. Okay. Well, let me take that off after all. Okay, make stream is going to take a name and a number and we'll turn it into money. Going to return a stream with this one. Is that going to help? I don't know. I saw that message before. All right, let's get down to that bottom one. Make stream. That should be okay. Let's see if I don't understand why it would be ambiguous. Found this guy. Oh, foundation.stream. It is a. Can I? Oh, a different file. Okay. All right. Well, let's do our own make stream here too. Let's give it a name of string, amount of int, first of month number, last of month number. We do have some nils. Okay. Returns Fiume.stream. And the result is stream with that name, money of amount, and first of first, and I guess date spec equals last equals nil goes to date spec dot unspec, otherwise dot month of last bang. Okay, so name, amount, first, last. Extreme. Now this one, okay, first. So let's make this 1 and this nil. Okay. That should deal with that case. All right, well, while we're in here, we're doing scenario a lot too. So let's take the same approach. Make scenario, return scenario. And this could well happen more than once. Although I think we can make this better. So while we're in here, well, no, I should probably get green again. All right. And then some possibilities. Let's go back to stream. Let's make this equal 1 again. Make sure everything's green. Yeah, I don't know why it's never been a problem before yesterday or before today. Expenses stream is an income stream, line 68. Yeah. Well, we don't have a separate. I mean, this is what happens internally when all the stuff on the GUI makes this happen, the negative amount. So yeah, I don't know if that's I'm not sure if that's a direction change I want to go to. Oh dear. A scenario, that's one we've just been mucking with. Okay, so you make a stream income 1, 5,000, income nil, and net 13 should be 500. Oh no, it should not. Wait a minute. Yeah, I think internally we don't distinguish income and expense, but externally we do, if I can say it that way. Whether that's a good decision or not, but I think it's it's kind of, I don't know. I mean, accounting always kind of treats things as positives because, you're crediting this side and debiting that side, and one of them has to take the negative side. And maybe that would be better to imitate. Okay, so the problem I'm seeing here, we have this scenario with income stream 1 being 12 and last being nil. Well, nil should come into unspecified, and unspecified is not supposed to override anything. Okay, so let's see this one. Are those different? Income 1 built for merged multiple streams. Is this an and? I'm having trouble distinguishing these. Make scenario. $1,500, 112, 10 nil. Why? 1, 10, 12, 13. Well, scenario, income 1, income 1. Oh, okay. So this one is merged. Okay. That is different. Right. And this one's coming up 0? No. I think, yeah, it's something in merge maybe. So this one should, well, the $1,000 should stop at month should not be there at month 13. So this should be 500. And this one, the $500 override on the amount, but it should retain the same last date, 12. And so it should be 500. All right. So in both cases, well, somebody's messing up. Which is weird, right? Because what is going on? Wait, what's this? Oh, yeah, that's a problem. So I dropped the date spec and they both became nil, I think. There we go. All right, let's remove need for default first value in stream constructor. All right, and then there was another one last test that did not like doing this. Missing argument first. Now let's see what the tests do in here. It doesn't. Yeah, they're all just needed amount. Okay. Name of string. Amount of int. Returns Fiume.stream. Do you really not know? Type int. Good. All right, so that's a good thing. That means that is no longer needed at all. Now, I also think this may no longer be needed. Callers, that's suggesting they're not. Because we migrated all those make streams to call the private function that uses the date specifier. Okay, and we'll do a build. A scenario. Yeah, that's kind of long. Okay. Now this does kind of make me question, do we have the right parameters for this thing or not? Okay. Test should pass. Make leaf. Last is a month number. We'll see if anybody's calling make leaf with nil. Looks like no. Oh, I guess they couldn't. All right. Okay. Good. Okay, so now we got rid of eliminate old constructor. So you can see we got back into a green state and then dealt with things one at a time more rather than having 5 files with complaints. Okay. Now the other one I was worried about, was it a scenario? Yeah, because mostly what happens with these scenarios is you make one and then you put a stream in there. So I think we could make that part of the function, is let it take arguments that are streams. Okay, so make scenario. I'm going to say it takes. Well, I think I could do it like this: just scenario dot 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 stream dot dot dot. I think that's the right. It's weird to me that it does that when it's got this import right up there. Okay, yeah, so that should be okay. And again, I'm doing this in a way that I can fix one site at a time. All right, so what I'd like to do here is pass this. Oh no, first I need to let result equal scenario streams dot for each result dot add return result. And again, that should still be okay. You just mostly pass none. Okay. So now I can get these, now make scenario. Can be this. Oh, I don't need the bracket even. I could have made it an array, but I didn't. Okay, so that already takes care of that. Now this, the copy, yeah, we have to do that separately. But many of these don't really need that. You can't tell if you want a foundation stream or your own. I guess. But we had so many other places that reference stream, right? I mean, scenario does. Oh, I pulled these under one folder. I think he does. Yeah, he adds stream. Like, why am I not? And I explicitly imported foundation. Like, I don't get it. But yeah, okay. Let's back to this test. Okay, so that one's got to do the actual stream adding because it's explicitly checking copies. All right, this one though. I'm going to say change this to distinct instead of multiple. All right, this one. Okay. All right, where's James's thing? Hopefully I recognize it from the name of the pattern. Pick the wrong one. Let's try this one. Narrows. Signature shielding. Yeah, provide helper functions to do these things and avoid setup. So there's sort of an older testing style that we would put all these common things in setup. This style says, no, you're better off making a little helper function that'll get you going. And I think that definitely, well, where we didn't do it, we definitely felt it. So signature shielding, I have to remember the name for that. All right. Not sure if we. But I think it's a nice thing that we can sort of take these multiple steps out and say, oh, usually you want to make a scenario with a couple streams in it, and we make that relatively easy. And I believe it improves the test as well, and certainly makes it a little more robust to change. Okay. All right, now let's go back to stream. All right, so he's using DateSpecifier. That's good. Now let's hit this code that's using that. I think our tests demonstrate that the right thing is happening, so I think that's okay. This could be less clunky maybe somehow. We have a month number there. The month's greater than last month. The month is less than first, return 0. Okay. Yeah. Okay, then this is the merge. Newer. I think that helps a little bit. All right. Name equals name and monthly equals monthly and first. Okay, I think this can just be equatable up here, and the default stream one should be exactly that. Well, so much for that theory. Stream sample. Oh, it has ID in it. Ooh. Right. Yeah. Okay, so much for that. Okay. Now, the question I have is, well, one question is who's calling this? The other is, this seems like it's for tests and not for everybody. Scenario, we'll define this here. Prevents automatic synthesis of, well, I think that's the same problem. Okay, so let me run this now. Okay, so the normal code doesn't have access to this, so it is a test only thing. The date specifier, I'm not as worried about that one. Okay, now this merge. All right, so we're looking at the newer stream, and if we have a month, then the month should be the, well, okay, yeah, that's probably, okay. New last equals newer dot last. If I'm not using it, I can just do this. That's almost better. It's either self.last or newer.last. Okay. All right, so running tasks. Okay, so move stream dot equatable conformance to test. Now, notice my breakpoint did not get called here, which makes me think it's called when I'm running, which makes me wonder if it's called at all. Let's put something in. Okay, create that. Now it's never called, and I'm going to create a scenario. Okay, yeah, I'd like to make that open up automatically. Right, so we don't seem to be touching that anywhere. We don't print the word stream in our stuff. So I don't think this is being used. It may have been at some point during our debugging or something, but I'm sure it's moderately useful. But all right, so run this. It may be that we had it there while we were first printing things or something like that. All right, so good. Okay, let's go back here. Refine the notion of start date. Well, okay, so I would say what we've completed. What did I call this? Enhanced. Make streams last be a date description, not an int question mark. Maybe optional int would be clarifying. Okay, and so I think what I want to do is make start date be a date specifier. Okay. Now, the places for this. Well, if I just change it, all right, so I'm going to not make the mistake I did before. Let's create another constructor. All right, and this one wants a date specifier. Okay, now that declaration should be fine. Now I'm curious about this. Do we use this in tests or production code? I don't want to. Well, That's not going to answer that now, is it? That one, if it's just tasks, I'm okay. It looks like it's the views. I don't know why I insist on doing two things at once. Okay, so this one, oops. Right. I mean, if you give it an integer, then we should be making DateSpecifier dot month of first. And actually, I don't think we need DateSpecifier on there since that's the type. Cannot assign DateSpecifier to month's number. Oh, interesting. Okay. First equals. Okay. Well, let first date equal. Can we move a leaf to the tree or tree? Change an existing leaf to an or tree. There is not a good way to do that because we've distinguished leaves from scenarios. I think it would be a good enhancement to be able to move nodes. So if I created it with just a leaf and I said, oh, really, this is more complicated, I should make an OR node out of it, I definitely could see that being a useful thing. An alternative, if we supported the editing, would be create the OR node and then slide it in there, move it in there. But we don't support that for sure right now. So, but that does seem like a pretty natural scenario. All right, so I got to get first here. It's funny how these enums don't really make this part very easy. I want to say if. Oh, and actually, we're not using this constructor yet, so let's not even allow it to be optional. Okay. If first is not equal to unspecified, is that a good way to do this? Well, oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe I just do it and maybe I'm doing it backwards. All right, but I'm going to switch on first case.unspecified. This is really a can't happen. Okay, yeah, this is our, really? Is that acceptable? Must have at least one executable. Oh. Continue. All right. Oh, what is the default? Fall through? No. Pass? It's not pass. No. Break. Good old C. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. I guess I just haven't done a lot of breaks on my switch statements. Usually we're doing them against enums and they have to have every value pretty much for whatever you're doing. But maybe I can just do this instead. Maybe that is the way to go, is like this. Okay, so I'm trying to find this constructor. Nobody's calling it yet, but I'm saying, hey, if you give me a date specifier, I'm going to either convert it to, I got to convert it to a month number, and I'm going to convert it to 1 if it's not specified. Otherwise, I'll use the month you gave me. Okay, so nobody's calling it. No harm. Almost no harm. And that's a style thing. Okay. Okay, so now we can make our tests use this, and really we have our signature shielded helper functions. Okay, so first month, let's do, well, right now nobody checks that case. So, okay, we'll just do month of first. We're going to need more cases when when we start allowing this to be null for real. Okay, so month number first is dot month of first. Okay. Now we got a bunch of stuff using that constructor. I don't know if there's, I think there might be a place or two that created its own stream, which could be required in some sort of circumstance. But looks like we don't. Okay. Right. So at this point, all our production code calls this one, and all our test code calls this one, which has basically the same effect. All right, so I want to find out who's using this one, so I'm going to comment this out and do a build. All right, so that is stream. Let's get these ones out of here. The first one looked like the only real one. These others are previews. Now this merge takes newer dot first. So for now, I think I'm going to make this just dot month. Is that right? Yeah. Plan tree. All right, let me put this back a moment. So we'll get the trivial ones out of the way, and then we'll go find the real tricky ones. Okay, so all right, and now we're going to go get, hopefully it's just that one. Create stream view. Okay, so basically if start month is nil, we want to do unspecified. Otherwise, start month. What is start month? Oh. So I think this is just start month. Is that right? Yeah, so I started using, we switched the view to use the date specifier, but not the back end. And now we're fixing it so the back end does too. All right. So that should build. Test shouldn't care because this is UI. All right, and we'll run it. And so this is really, well, let's give it no months. It defaults to 1. That's probably reasonable. Salary 2, 2, 2, 3, 5. And start month is 12. Okay. Yeah, so I believe that's working. Okay, so and did we in fact remove the, no. Okay. All right. So now we did this. But, and I think we've already done this, right? Because we have a start and end date editor. But the thing we haven't done, and again, this is in stream, right? His contents have a month number. His specifier is empty, and so we want to make first get used in terms of date specifier. And somewhere in merge, yeah, notice merge, we merged the last date, but we didn't merge the first date. Okay, so we just hard coded it to take whatever it got. This is a change in behavior. So the refactoring part is done, and now we're saying, okay, given that we can now have unspecified first dates, how are we going to deal with them? Okay, and so I think a scenario is probably the right place to look. Okay, so we had merged streams, tested built. I don't think that's more like a scenario. Maybe the word wasn't in our use at that point. Okay, and Well, this one's merged. Okay. With final with last date unspecified. Same thing with first date unspecified. So I'm going to flip these basically, and I'm trying to see that things get overwritten. Okay, so our test harness thing doesn't support this yet. That's okay. First date be the smaller of the two merge. No, I don't think it should. So because I think if we're saying a scenario changes something, it's saying, like what if I started my job a year later, took a sabbatical? I'm overriding these values, and so I don't think it makes sense to keep the least of them. You could probably spin up something. Well, one that I was thinking was if we have something to specify the actual month. Well, at this point, the month or unspecified. I could also see something that says add so many months. Sort of like a delay so many months, and maybe subtract, but add's probably the one that really gets used. That could be a different kind of date specifier. It says take the old one, add 3 years to it or whatever. But I think it's a different thing. Now, the minimum, I don't know if there's a case where you would want the minimum. I mean, if you want a sooner first date, you just override it with a sooner one. But I don't know. So if it's there, it overrides it. If it's not, it doesn't. All right. And so this should start in month one. Okay. So month one should be 1,000. No, it should be 500 because that flows through. I'm not here. Come on. All right, let's take it on its own terms. So this is 500 nil, which is unspecified, and 25. So month one should get 500 because it should accept nil there. Month 10, well, that's kind of a boring month. Month 12, that should still be 500. Month 13 should be 500. But month 26 should be 0. Okay. So month one, the first comes through for the first. The last 12 and 13 are interesting boundaries, and 26 is. Okay. Well, maybe I should add 25 too, just to be super careful. All right, and then make stream needs to take into account the nillability here. Okay, so this is now last date. And this is now optional. Okay, so now we're building a date spec, basically. Okay, so first date unspecified. And I guess that's the combinations we care. We're doing kind of the cross ones because we know they're more or less independent. So you got both present, and we know it works if you just have one specified. So that should be okay. Maybe I'll turn this into 2. And so 1 is 0. 2 is 500. Oh no, yeah, 2 is 500. Okay. $500 is not 0. Okay, well, I think this is the failing test we want. Actually, maybe. So it's really stream.merge. Yeah. Okay. What happens if star is nil? Does it default to something? Oh, start is nil. Well, yeah, that's an interesting case. If it should default to 1, but I don't know where we've made that implicit. Well, yeah, we had that view, right? Was it this one? Oh no, I have all the views open now. Whoever specifies those, that's not this, is it? No. Is it? No, not form fields. Create stream view. Right. So he does that now. I don't know if he. Yeah, we'll have to check that one. So this is allow month, first month to be unspecified. What if scenario has unspecified first month? Okay, so yeah, I don't want to lose that test case, but this one is if we're merging. Right now we check for last being unspecified and then take self.last, but we need to do the equivalent for the new case. So let's let new first be of type date spec. Now I don't have a good way to do this without duplicating the structure here. Okay. This needs to change. Okay, because right now it's month number. It's required. It's an int. That's not good. Let's make it date specifier. And then, yeah, that changes that. And this is a little glue to make everything keep working. So this is switch on first two. Okay, so now that's not filled in. But it should be. So first two equals first. Okay, and then what's going on down here? The merge. So this is first two. Okay. All right, so I'm keeping both these in parallel for now. Mutable value first was never used, right? That goes here. New first. Okay. Now, let's hope everybody else is good with this. All right. So we make stream hold a date spec for the first date, still using first to access it as int. All right, but that gives us something to get rid of. All right. So anybody that's using stream.first is suspicious to me. Well, there aren't a whole lot. A scenario, amount, and get body. Okay. Now, format months. Let's look at this one. Format month takes a month number. All right. And, or a date specifier. Who's calling this? Stream.first. Okay. Let's call that first two. Okay, and then the other ones. Right, this can compare those. amount. Okay, let's make sure everything's green before we go changing it. Good. All right, now the amount for a month. Well, is that... Let's see who's calling that. That should be the charting stuff, I think. Stream plan tree. Is net for a leaf in a given month. Okay. All right, so if the month is less than first, return 0. I guess... Okay, so we want this to be month 2, but we really do have to stay... The month coming in is going to be an actual month number. There's no date spec about that. It needs it. Okay, so if the month... I mean, if the first is unspecified... then we're going to return it, right? Okay, so I think this one stays the same. Okay, so if... Yeah. Okay. If the month is unspecified, return the monthly amount. Actually, I don't think we've proven this one. Let's say 42 for a moment here. But for this case, okay, now if the month is less than the stream month, return 0. Okay, does that make sense? If first 2 is unspecified, well, I don't think we can do anything with that. Okay, but if it's not unspecified, I guess we're... Okay, if they specified a month and the month they're asking for is before us, then we definitely want to return 0. But we don't know how much to return. We could be in range and return amount, or we're kicking out early. Okay, so I think this will make the test pass. Okay, good. And then we haven't taken to your question, if the start is nil, we should have a test case for that. Okay, so a stream. month starts at 1 when unspecified. Okay, now do we handle nil here? No. So first. So if you make one with nil and you ask month, well, it doesn't make sense to ask month 0. Month 1, you should get 100. Month 10, you should get 100. Well, maybe that's enough. Maybe that's not relevant to month 1. Yeah. Okay, so let's see this test. And I think it's going to come back 42. Although I don't remember if that was... Okay, 42. Right. So stream. Well, this might just be a break, I guess. So this is really kind of a filter. This first one is saying, you know, if I find out you're asking for a month before I started, then just return 0. Otherwise, I got to check if my end month is right. So I think he's just falling through. All right, let's make sure that works. Yeah, so I think we should just check the start value. Yeah, that's good. All right, now I think there's another way to say this. I think you say if is it case let now I'm gonna have to look it up. If case let, yeah, it like this one. And then we give the thing we want it to be equals the input dot month of and is that already in the let? Yeah. Okay, so if that and this I'm not quite sure how you format that best. Okay. Maybe this fits on one line, it's better. It's a little long. Okay, so we get the first month, the streaming first month from the field, and the actual month. So only in this case do we try and do this. If it really is a dot month, then we check. And if the month is less than the first month, then we return 0. Otherwise, we just fall through. And yeah, I think that's better. All right, make sure that works though. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to be before our break. We'll come back, and the only leftover piece on stream is now we have first and first two. So we'll clean that up after we get back. So see you in 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll go from there. Welcome back. All right, so my hope is nobody's referencing this now. Good. So we get rid of that. Okay. And we'll do a build. Then we'll rename it. Okay. Good. That should pass. And then finally, let's look back at that create stream view. I don't know if he's... No, was that the right one? Maybe DateSpecifier view. Oops. Well, no, who had that format thing? Stream view? Yeah. So I don't know if anybody's calling this one now. Good. Okay. Okay, so I think that should build. It should be fine. Okay. Allow first month to be specified. What if scenario has unspecified first month? We dealt with that. Okay, and validation. All right. Okay. So I think that's a good place to be. We've finished a good chunk there. Now we support optional unspecified date starts or finishes. And the other, well, let's look at stream. And I don't think you get, if you change the name, it's a different thing. But if you wanted to do monthly amount, right? Because this is a little weird. Because if you, let's say you've got a salary going, and then you say, oh, now the end date of my salary is 2025, and it's going to say like, well, what's the money value though? And maybe it implicitly sets it to 0 if you don't type one, which is fine for 2025, but 2024 it'll be 0 when it should still be your income. So we kind of need the same thing there. So let me add it as a to do. Make amount and override yieldable value on stream. Okay, I don't. It's a real thing to do. I guess I don't want to not do it, but I do want to move across. I feel like we've done a bit on the bottom part, the scenarios. We've made them, you can make them more complicated with start and end dates that change and things like that. But the graph has not gotten any better, and so I want to make that scenario name come up better. Now, I think there's multiple pieces to this, but I think, well, I haven't yet given this to my brother that wanted to try it. So I think if I can get this name improved so that you can see scenario 1 or scenario 2 or something like that, I think that would be a much better name to try and make sense of what's going on. And it will help us. I mean, we can't tell which is which right now without, kind of computing it ourselves. So the zone for this, I guess it's in a plan tree where we spent most of last week, the and trees and or trees. Right now, well, notice scenario has no name. All right, so I think that's a gap. Now, I don't know. Not quite sure how to go with this, but my working plan, for what it's worth, I think scenarios should have names, and we will basically, I think it'll start out like I used my finance before, my finances. Maybe it starts with that. And maybe it starts with an empty name. I don't know. That could be okay too. But as you build scenarios, I think they should append stuff to the name. Now, what we do when you create a scenario, a block of scenarios, you give this a name. And right now we don't require it. You can see it's not required. Okay, so I think it should be required, and I think it should be unique across the whole system, the whole scenario, all the scenarios, or all the plans. If you want 2 Social Security scenarios, you got to distinguish them somehow and pick a different name. But if you had created the scenario and then you put a name on it, well, let's do it. Make our Social Security scenario and add this. Now this I'm calling, well, it's really Social Security. I don't think that stream name has nothing to do with the scenario name. So this actually should be okay. And let's say you get $1,200 a month starting in month 1. Well, let's start in, yeah, that's fine. Starting in month 1. Okay, now your alternate next scenario, I'm going to add another one here. this is also Social Security, and it's 1,500 starting in month. Well, 12 plus 5 is 72. Converges? Interesting. Unexpected. All right, I'll add the last one. This is also Social Security. This is 2,072 plus 3 years is 108. Okay, and that one wins. All right. So what I would like is I would like these to say, I don't know if they need to say anything in front, but somewhere it should say SS, and then I'm going to say 1, which is green, 2, which is blue, and 3, which is the orange. I don't think I'm going to try and put the color coding down here. It's possible to do. Maybe it's even wise. I don't know. I mean, you can have a lot of graphs, and like, am I going to distinguish 81 colors or something? I don't know. But anyway, if this said SS1, SS2, SS3, I'd be like, oh, I can kind of see what they are. Now, maybe I should number the children when I display them or something. You know, we can refine that too. But as far as the actual scenario name, I want to accumulate this. Now, if I also added SS spouse, I'll add it, but won't fill it in. Maybe SS2 for spouse 2. And then I added a stream to that. SS2, and it's 1,600, and it starts today. Okay. I would like this to be SS space 1 semicolon SS2 space 1. Okay, so it should append these things as it. Remember, the way the OR tree works, you know, we're basically generating multiple scenarios from the initial scenario, and then each of those generates its own scenario. So I think there should be an SS1 1 space SS or semicolon SS2 1 SS2 semicolon SS2 space 1, something like that. It's a start. Now, in a way, you might like to name the stream. I don't know. There might be things you want to do, but streams in the same timeline mean the same thing. So you got to watch that. All right. And so the thing for me that's going to happen is the scenario is going to need a name. Every scenario we generate should have a name. We're going to have a little handling on the first one because we're not going to put a semicolon first. And then we need to pass those numbers down, and we need to pass the name down, because if it's copying a scenario, like the way we are now, we just copy those scenarios. I think we want to copy it and append the new scenarios thing somehow. So somewhere on there we have to append. All right. Now, this is some sort of recursive algorithm because our trees are recursive, so we'll have to think through that. But right now, scenario has no name. That's the biggest initial problem I have. Okay. So let's see, how are we going to name these? Well, maybe it's kind of a refactoring to say it knows its name, but it doesn't do anything with it. Name a string, And then this is name of string equals empty string. Okay, so that should be, excuse me, I have to assign it, I guess. All right, that should be neutral for everybody. Okay, so let's commit that. All right, now let me clean that up a little. Okay, now I want to find out who's calling this constructor. Should be several tests and a couple of real places. You don't want to code, you're being wimpy. Okay. Maybe not exactly. Init other scenario. Let's take other name. I'll make this private. That should break somebody. There should be some tests. Okay, well, yeah. Okay, so this is the outer name. Now, I don't know, do I want to check this somehow? Right, let's make a test for this. All right, so possibilities, I guess some possibilities. I'm trying to think of the right place to check this. I guess the deal is if possibilities, well, when I get back one scenario, it should have an empty name. Now, okay. Make possibilities. We haven't done our signature shielding on possibilities yet. Okay. And I guess we can, it's interesting to add streams. Is that just like the job? No, most of them are going to do other things. Okay. Empty name. So we make a possibilities, and then if we ask for scenarios, okay, then I'm going to say there should be one. What is scenarios? Oh. Hmm. All right, we're gonna call on count. I guess that's usually a var, right? Count event. Let's return -1 to make sure it fails. All right, so some possibilities calls count, and then can I do that? No. Well, maybe I don't need to count them. We don't need that in production code, so let's leave that out. Let's just make an array of them. Scenarios.first.name should be empty. Type scenarios. Okay, let's see, what am I getting here? Oh, I don't want that. Well, it shows up in the right place for sequence. Can I do that? Scenario throws goes to bool. I don't even know what that is. If I made a function, yeah. Oh, come on. I don't want to do that. Well, let's take it this way. I hate doing loops. I don't know if there's a better way to get that thing. Now this probably succeeds. I could probably make it fail if I did this. so some possibilities is not equal to blank. Okay, so I don't want to hard code it there, but I can still make it pass if I pass it in. Okay, so let's make sure that fixes it. Okay, now this can go back to this, but I'd like to know who calls this. I don't think it shows me. No. Ugh. I'll just change it for a moment here. We know somebody's calling this. Why it won't tell me, I don't know. Oh, is that even reasonable? I don't think it's reasonable. Cannot convert string to expected type scenario. Right. Well, that's almost like I've got no callers, which is not really believable. No, that one we don't need. Well, let's do it this way. Okay, who are you? Possibilities.scenarios. Okay, that one we know about. Continue. A plan tree.test multiple scenarios. Okay, these tests are relying on it. Well, I don't mind a plan tree. I don't mind making that when he specifies scenarios. So what's he doing? He's adding something to scenario 2. Scenario 1 is empty. He's adding alternatives. Oh, the make or tree is the whole tree with what? Set dust scenarios. Okay, so we're making scenarios with scenario 1, scenario 2. And then we're asking the OR tree to produce the scenarios. Well, those are the ones that should be changing. Scenarios for OR tree. Well, this one should be empty. I'm going to say they all should be empty for now. So I'm trying to get rid of that helper thing. Now, for now, these tests we don't deal with or and trees to make new scenario names. So I'm saying there's no harm in them claiming the scenario is empty. But we'll be touching some of these, like this or tree. We'll have to change that when we change the rules that say or trees should have different scenario names. Okay. So now, I don't know if that was all of them. I expect there might be one or two more. Scenario. All right, no comments. Good. Okay, so now we've got scenario. Everybody that calls it provides the name, and we just propagate the empty name or whatever name they get. Yeah, I don't want any of them to be empty, honestly. Sorry, scenarios. I don't want the scenario groups, the or tree, to be empty names, and we do need to enforce that. But I also need them to be unique. Is what I'm thinking is the right constraint for things. We'll see. All right. I don't know if it has to, but I think it makes sense to explain it that way. Okay, so add names to scenarios generated. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, and so plan tree. Right, this is the thing that's coming to it. Somebody generates, yeah, so an or tree generates new scenarios, calls copy. Excuse me. Now, where's that name? Oh, these have names. Okay, so that's good. The leaf has a name. The composite has a name. All right, because these names are going to feed into the scenario names, just like the data feeds into the scenario. Okay, and so a leaf isn't going to change anything. I don't think the and tree does not, because each scenario he augments it, but he doesn't replace it. Okay, but the or tree does, and this copy is definitely the thing. Now, I want to find scenarios. Right. Who? Does anybody really give that an array of stuff? I bet you it's tests. Well, creating it empty seems reasonable. But who needs the array thing? Okay, maybe it's not the thing to worry about. I think plan tree is my focus. Okay, so what I want to assert then, well, I want to do this on probably the existing existing tests, right? So was that last test in particular? Well, no, any of these. Result set dot count. For or tree. Maybe it's yeah, I think I need to know who calls this. Scenarios. No, plan tree. No, it's scenarios, huh? No. I know I saw it. Portrait scenarios. Okay, yeah, this thing. Okay, yeah, let's take that test. I think we just need a simple one for now. Scenarios for or tree with 2 links. That's about as simple as it gets. 2 scenarios on one thing. Okay. But now I want to check they name their or get names. Okay, so you got leaf 1 income. Who cares? We're not going to look at that part or that part. Just make leaf okay with that. Not really. Why aren't you complaining? Okay, we got the 2 trees, and then we ask for the scenarios starting from an empty scenario. From empty. Empty what? From starting scenario. Okay, so now, no, wait a minute. What the type of this is? I guess I have to say array a result. Okay, fine. All right, so what I want to do, the or tree is parent. Okay, so what I would like to say is I get back those 2 answers. And I want to map these names. I don't really care about the order. Array.map $0.name. Let names equal that. Now, if I say XETAEQ set of names should be set of parent 1 and parent 2. Let's say job. So we're simulating choosing a job. All right, and it's going to append. Oh, come on. Do this. I probably don't even need this set there. I think it knows the first one's a set, so it'll do the second one. Okay. Okay, so you've got an empty scenario to start with. And your scenario should be your parent name followed by a number. All right, this test should fail. That part's easy. I don't know, it'd be nice to have some sort of conditional join for strings. You know, like I want to join it with a separator, but if the string is already empty, I shouldn't use the separator. I should just get the original one. That seems like a common enough thing. All right, this should come back empties. Yeah, this set is, they're all empty string. And notice it swapped the order because it's a set, it doesn't care. Okay, so now we're able to do this. Okay, so we are looking at the OR tree. So self.name is the name of the name of this thing. All right, now I don't know where scenario.copy. Oh, that's that one. Okay, who calls this? Test, plan tree, and definition. Okay, so that's the place it gets called. Okay. Well, the simple thing I can do, I mean, can I append the name? Because really what I want to do is override the name. Now I don't know who calls this. Yeah, you drive me crazy, Xcode. Okay, plan tree. That's really the only one. And there was a test. Okay. So let me make this private. Let's see if that. One failure. Okay, yeah, that's the failure. Okay, good. Okay, so now this, I'm going to say copy, but new name of string. And I'm going to call scenario with new name. And then I'm going to give this new name of string. And this will become new name. All right, now there's probably tests that don't like it that way. Yeah. Okay, so this one, independent copies. Scenario. Well, I think this one, I'm not testing copy. Result. Yeah, we're not testing that. Well, we kind of are. Make scenario. Defaults to empty. Okay, so yeah, I can check this and set.name should be altered name. Okay. Now plan tree. Let's put in name. Or should you pass in the whole name? Well, this is interesting. Okay. He's not working. Yeah, he's probably, I hope he has job there. Yes. Okay, that's progress. This one, though, empty string. Set.copy. Scenario copy with altered name. Oh no, it's not set, it's result. Okay, yeah, that's good. All right, now a plan tree. So the children, really I want their child number so I can pass that into the scenario. So I'll do dot enumerated, and now I get index and child. And what I want this to be is, well, let child name equal name index plus 1. Okay, let's see if I've done it in one here. Yeah. Good. Okay. Now I'm going to pull this out. Function. No, I'm not. We will later. Right. So this gives scenarios. Well, okay, we need to do more work, but it's a good start. Yeah. So I'll just kick off, run this once, and hopefully we can see some names. And creating these is a little tedious, but let's create scenarios. This is SS1, create. Create. Month 60. And I'll create another. Oh, wait. Oh, their names are still that. Okay, so all right. So we have to get those names into our data instead of the existing name. Right now, they're just picking up a UUID. They should pick up their scenario name and use that. And I also was going to demonstrate we haven't dealt with what if there's two scenarios. I mean, two sets of scenarios. We need to append not just the last name, but all the names in the chain. So we haven't done that either. Okay, so, but that gives us somewhere to go. So if, and I think, well, tomorrow's only Wednesday. Okay, we have more time in this week than I thought. That should let us make a usable scenario thing here, even though you have to count. We can maybe work on that. But a graph that you can interpret which one's which, I think that's a good winner for us. So we'll get there tomorrow or so. I'll go ahead and update the to-do offline, but basically we're going to deal with nested scenarios and the graph, get those two pieces. All right, well, thanks for joining. I'm glad with the progress we made today, and I'll catch you tomorrow or in the future, 2 to 4:30 Eastern Time or 6 to 8:30 p.m. UTC. Thanks for your help as usual, Mudshark666. Take care. Bye-bye.